Yeah, so I think the first several times I went and did dark matches, I didn't really talk to him. I think it was basically like, "Hi, nice to see you again," or "Hi, I'm John." But I remember the match specifically. I wrestled another indie guy and I, Arch Kincaid, who was another chaotic Kowalski guy. We wrestled the Hurricane and Rosie on Sunday Night Heat. This was in 2004, I believe. And I remember after the match, I was back there with Shane Helms. He's giving me advice, make sure give me more heat, blah, blah, blah. So I turned around and Benoit was like an inch away from my face staring at me. And I just turned around and he's just like, his exact words were, "You impressed the fuck out of me." That's what he said to me. And I was like, "Well, I'm going to take this opportunity." I was like, "Thank you so much." He's like, "Yeah, you hit him good. You sold good." I was like, so I sat down. He sat down with me, asked me who trained me and this and that. So I was like, "I'm going to take advantage of this." I said, "Can I send you some of my tapes so you can watch some of my stuff?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, he gave me his email address. I emailed him and he responded. I sent him a tape. The next several times I saw him, he was friendly, but kind of short. It was like, "Hey, nice to see you." I never said, "Hey, did you watch my tape?" I wasn't going to go there, but he always kind of was nice. And then I remember I wrestled Chris Masters on Raw, kind of a squash match. And I remember the next night, you guys remember AOL, America Online? I got a little AOL message. It said Wolverine One Sports sent you a message. So I'm guessing because we exchanged emails, my screen name was saved in his contacts. And he said, "Hey, John, it's Benoit." And I was like, "Oh, hey." He's like, "Great match with Chris Masters." And I was just like, I got squashed. But he's like, "Yeah, you threw good forearms." He's like, "Only thing you can do in that situation is do the best. And then somewhere down the line, someone will do the same for you." He's like, "How come you haven't got signed yet?" I was like, I don't know. I was like, "Maybe I'm too small." And he's like, "That's bullshit." He said, keep doing what you're doing. And you hear a lot of stories from indie guys that Benoit was very helpful. I think if he saw a little of himself in you, he was always willing to help out because his passion was wrestling. And he was a guy who was told a million times he was too small, and he ended up winning the championship. So, we exchanged emails here and there. And whenever I was backstage, he was always kind of friendly and gave advice. That was the extent of it. And then, when everything went down, it was just like, oh my God, it's like, I know a lot of guys who knew him personally. And from what I saw, not one of them was really that surprised with what happened. Of course, that's extreme, but they could tell that he was kind of depressed and his mind was not there. So when you look at the whole situation, as sad as it was, you add up everything, the depression, the marital problems, Eddie Guerrero dying, he's on ECW now, the drugs. It shouldn't be that surprised that something like that happened. And it's a shame because some people say concussion, some people say steroids. My opinion is he's just ultimate consumption with wrestling was really all he had. And he just kind of forgot that there was other things outside of that. And maybe he was just so focused on it that Eddie dying and the depression of being kind of demoted to ECW. And then also the prescription drugs he was on. I heard he was on some antidepressants and stuff. All that stuff can be a cocktail for disaster. So it's not that surprising. I'm surprised it doesn't happen more, not just in wrestling, just in general. But in terms of pro wrestling, aside from what happened, I mean, one of the best ever.